Before we start learning about NgRx and state management with NgRx in an Angular application, let's first try to understand what do we mean by a state. We can say that state refers to the data that your application manages and displays to the user. It encompasses all the information that can change over time and which can affect the UI. You can think of a state as the current snapshot of your application's data at any given moment. Now, if this statement does not make any sense right now, then let's try to understand it with some examples. So let's say in my Angular application, I have a counter component. Here you can see I have a counter component. For this counter component, I have a selector which is app counter and a template which is counter.html. Now inside this counter component, you will notice that I have a property called counter which is of type number and its initial value is 0. And in my view, I also have a button, the increment button, and whenever this increment button is clicked, I'm calling this increment function. And if I go to component class, in that increment function, what I am doing is I am incrementing the value of this counter property. And I'm also displaying the latest value of this counter property in the UI. If you see here inside this div, I'm displaying the value of the counter property. So here, this counter property is storing some data and we are displaying that data in the UI. So we can say that this counter is nothing but a state in our Angular application. So when we are displaying the value of this counter property in the UI, its initial value is 0. So initially 0 is rendered. Now whenever this increment button is clicked, it is going to increment the value of counter. So every time this increment button is clicked, it is going to increment the value of counter. That means the value of this counter property will change and that changed value will be rendered in the UI. So here this counter is a state which is storing some data, and whenever the value of this counter state changes, that changed value we are rendering it in the UI. So this is one example of state. Now let's take another example. So let's say I have a component called login component, and inside that I'm creating a property called isLoading, and initially its value is false. And I have a login form here where the user can enter his username and password. And when this login button is clicked, it should send a login request to the server. And on the server, the user should be validated. And if the user is valid, then this user should be logged in. Now here what I want is whenever this login button is clicked and before the login logic is executed, I want to set this isLoading property to true. And when this isLoading property is true, it should display a loading indicator. So when this isLoading property is true, it is displaying a loading indicator. And as soon as the login is successful, we want to set this isLoading to false. And when the isLoading is false, it should hide this loading indicator. And we should see a login success message. Now, to show and hide the loading indicator, here we have created a property called isLoading, whose value when it is set to false, it is not going to display the loading indicator, but whenever its value is true, it is going to display a loading indicator. So in this case also, this isLoading is a state. When the value of this state is true, it is going to render a loading indicator in the UI, and when its value is false, it is going to hide that loading indicator. So this is loading indicator, it is also a state. Now so far we have seen example of two states, the counter state and this is loading state. And the value of the counter state and is loading state is set in memory. But sometimes we might want to have a state for which we want to fetch the data from a backend API. So for example, let's say I am creating an Angular application where I want to show a list of courses. So here I have this courses component. in this courses component, I have a property called courses, which is going to store an array of courses. And initially, this courses property is empty array. And when we have empty array, in that case, we are showing this message to the user, no course are available, please try again later. But when we will load this course component, in that course component inside this onInit method, so it should be actually NgOnInit method. So inside the NgOnInit method, what we will do is we will make a backend API call using, let's say, this course service to fetch all the courses from the backend. So when this API call is successful, we are going to get all the courses. At that time, this courses property will not be an empty array. Instead, inside that, we will have some course objects. And we want to show those course objects in the UI, as you can see here. So in this case, this courses is also a state which is going to store some data. And that data we want to show in the UI. So that's why this courses is also a state. But the value of this state we are not reading from memory. Instead, we are reading it from the backend API from a database. So with these three examples, now I hope you understand what do we mean by a state. So now if we go back to the definition which we saw previously, a state refers to the data that your application manages and displays to the user. We saw an example of counter state. Whenever the value of the counter state changes, we want to show the updated value in the UI. Also, we saw an example of isLoading state, but we are not displaying the value of isLoading state in the UI. Instead, what we are doing is, based on the value of isLoading state, we are rendering a component in the UI. If isLoading is true, we are rendering, let's say, the loader component in the UI. And when isLoading is false, we are hiding the loader component from the UI. Then we also saw an example of courses state, which is storing a list. So when the courses state is storing an empty list, in that case, we are showing a message to the user in the UI. But when the courses state has some course object in it, we are rendering those course object and we are displaying it in the UI. So these are few examples of what a state is. And we also learned that a state encompasses all the information that can change over time and affect the UI. So for example, the counter state. So counter state stores the information of the current counter value, and the value of the counter state can change over time. And whenever its value changes, we want to render the new value in the UI. So it can affect the UI. And we can think of a state as the current snapshot of the application data at any given moment. And its value can change the next moment. So I hope this statement is now clear. Now remember that a state can be of two types. A state can be a local state, and this is the simplest form of state that is managed entirely within a single Angular component. So when we say local state, that means a state which is defined in a component and it is going to be used only inside that component. So for example, we have a counter component inside which we are creating a counter state, and the value of this counter state will be used only inside the counter component of our Angular application. Its value will not be used in any other component. In that case, this counter state will be a local state. But if we are going to use the value of the counter state in multiple components, in more than one component, then in that case, the counter state is not a local state. Only when it is created and used inside a single component, then only we can say that this counter state is a local state. So here, when we have created this counter state, we have created it inside the counter component, let's say, and we are also going to use it inside the counter component, not in any other component. In that case, this counter state, it is a local state. It is local to that component and it will be used only in that component. Next, we have application wide state. And this type of state is what needs the state management. So this type of state needs to be shared across multiple and sometimes unrelated components. Let's say, for example, we are managing two state is logged in and logged user. So this type of data, this type of state can be required in multiple components. So in any component, if we want to check if there is any user who is logged in, there we will use this is logged in state. And if in any component we want to use the details of the logged in user, there we might need this logged user data. And also this is loading state, it is also a global state because we might want to show a loading indicator in multiple components. For example, when we are fetching a list of products, at that time also we might want to show a loading indicator. And when we are fetching, let's say, all the orders, at that time also we might want to show the loading indicator. So we might want to render a loading indicator in the UI from multiple components. And in all those multiple components, we will have to access the current value of this is loading state, and we might want to change the value of this is loading state to true or false based on when we want to show the loading indicator and when we want to hide the loading indicator. So these type of states, these are application wide state or global state which can be used in multiple components. So for example, let's say we are storing the logged in user data in a state. So we might want to use this logged in user data in the header component where we want to show the first name and last name of the logged in user. We might want to use it in the checkout page when the user is checking out a product. So at that time, we might want to show the first name and last name of the logged in user who is checking out a product. And apart from that, the other details like the address of the user. So here you see, we are using the logged in user data in multiple components. So logged in user data, the logged in user state, it is a global state. It is an application wide state, which we might want to use in multiple components. All right. So to summarize, the term state refers to the data that your application manages and displays to the user. And whenever the value of the state changes, you might want to render that new value in the UI, or you might want to do something else in the UI based on the new value of the state. So for example, whenever the value of is loading state changes, we would render or hide the loading indicator in the UI. All right. So this is all I wanted to cover in this lecture. In this lecture, I want to make it clear what do we mean by a state before we start learning about state management. So now that we know what is a state, in the next lecture, let's learn why we might want to use state management in our application. This is all from this lecture. If you have any questions from this lecture, then feel free to ask it. Thank you for listening and have a great day.